So today, if I tell you to pray, pray to your own desires, not mine, to the very thing that you think that you need in your life. And your attention goes outside of yourself. Maybe to bow down to some external objects or some external faith. Then may I tell you, this is not the art of praying. For centuries we have been led to believe. And even if I open a dictionary to find the real meaning of the word pray, it says a personal communication or petition addressed to a deity, especially in the form of supplication, adoration, praise, contrition, or thanksgiving. So, this is the actual definition as per the dictionary: a personal communication or petition addressed to the deity, for which we have been doing this our whole life, day and night. When we have a desire in our life, or we are faced with a circumstance beyond our control, we simply bow outside of us, maybe to a deity of faith, or maybe an object, and then we petition. So we say, Good Lord, please provide me with this or that, or free me from this particular situation, or this situation, or that situation. And I will. And then you simply add a praise. I will give you thanks. I will give you this or that. We add a praise, we thanks, or maybe a material object in return. This is what we do. In this world, when someone goes to take a line of credit, or maybe a loan, you can say, or a financing option to buy something he desires, it could be a car, it could be a home, or maybe some other things as well. And, if not so fortunate, maybe to clear one's medical bill, or might require some money to save the business, home, or health. There are thousand needs for that. We can go to the bank. And surprisingly enough, a strange man sitting behind a desk in a big, beautiful concrete building, so-called banks, the financial institution, will see you the very first time. Total and complete stranger will hand you the loan or the line of credit, and you will make a petition, sign a document to maybe even to get your money, to get you out of your own troubles, to fulfill your own desires, to get a home, maybe to buy a car, to maybe even pay the expenses of medical bills. A complete total stranger, a bank giving the huge sums of money with no interest in you whatsoever but one. You pay the bank the interest, and that's a business. With the exchange of interest between two parties, that's a business. And that's prayer according to the world. Petitioning in front of a deity with an exchange of interest. And that's what we have been told. What people do. I would be good. Please clear my exams this time. I will be good. I will not lie again. Please save me this time. I will donate this or that amount of money, maybe to the needy person. Please fulfill my desires. And all the reasons of the world through which we petition. And that's prayer. And that's business. But the true prayer, a real prayer, is not a transaction. It's not a plea. It is not outside of you, to be honest. So, when we go to the scripture, in the Bible, the New Testament, in the book of Mark, chapter 11, verse 24, it states that, Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in a prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. This is the Bible. Your own scripture, it is not me. This is your scripture only. Therefore I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have it and it will be yours. But for the world, prayer means a transactional deed, an exchange of interest. But for the world, prayer is often taught as a transactional deed, a petition in exchange for some hoped for favor, a contract of a soul with the universe. We have been conditioned to bow, to plead, to offer, to sacrifice, believing that the fulfillment of a desire comes only through some act outside of us. And yet, when we look closely, what does it truly bring to us? It comes to me with no surprise that even today there are people living under the bridges, praying in every corner that they can afford. The same people. They give what they little they have in their charity, sometimes going beyond their own means, stretching themselves so thin, sacrificing their health, their comfort, and even dignity, all in the hope that some force outside of themselves will intervene. They spend their entire lives in prayer, yet the world remains unchanged for them. The hunger persists, the illness persists, the loneliness persists, the poverty persists. And still they pray with faith, with devotion, with hope, and yet the fruit is so sparse, fleeting, and often so absent for them. And this is the basically, you can say, the tragedy of misunderstanding prayer. It is the mistake of thinking that the answer lies somewhere outside of you, in the heaven, in a deity, in an external object. Prayer, in this transactional sense, becomes a lifelong act of striving, of maybe bargaining, of hoping against hope. It binds you to the worlds of rules of exchange, maybe to fears, to lack. The more you give, the more you hope. The more you hope, the more you fear the disappointment, and it's a continuous cycle without the end. And that's the tragedy of human life. So, if you ask me, what is a prayer? And only if you can believe it. If you ask me what is a prayer, I'll tell you. But only if you believe it. For me, prayer is the inward journey of recognition. The moment when the mind stops asking outside for what the consciousness already knows it possesses. I may repeat it again. Prayer is the inward journey of recognition. The moment when the mind stops asking outside for what the consciousness already knows it possesses already. And that's the prayer. Prayer is not a petition. No. It is not bowing down in front of others. No. And yet for centuries we have been taught otherwise. We have been taught to shrink ourselves, to lower our own worth, to feel incomplete without something outside of power granting us what we desire. We have been told exactly that. We have been told that the fulfillment of our life depends on another, maybe some deity, some faith, some external object, and that we must humble ourselves first, plead and bargain, and give something in return. Think about this sincerely. What this has done to us. How many hearts have been broken by this hope deferred? How many spirits dulled by the endless act of asking and begging? How many lives have been spent in fear of dependence? In the illusion that power is somewhere else. Is that really a freedom? Or is it a slavery? This is the cruelest form of humility. Not the quiet grace of self-awareness, but the lowering of our own soul, the surrender of our own dignity, the internal whisper, I am not enough, I cannot bring this to myself, so I must bow, I must petition, and I must give. Is this a freedom? And yet, what has it brought us? Has it freed us? Has it fulfilled our deepest longing? For some perhaps, but for the most, has it brought a life that is fulfilled? No. A constant ache of dependence it has brought. A ceaseless yearning that never ends. Is this the freedom? The true prayer does not ask. The true prayer does not bow. The true prayer does not diminish the self, your own self. It is the recognition of your own power. Prayer is the inward journey of recognition. The moment when the mind stops asking outside for what the consciousness already has. It is the true sense of recognition. And that recognition is for your own power. The acknowledgement that what you seek already resides within you. It is a rising. It's not a lowering. It's a declaration. It's not a plea. It's a turning inward, not outward. To pray in the highest sense is to reclaim your own worth, to meet life from the place of completeness, to honor your own being as the source of everything that you desire. It is a human act, the most human of all, because it does not rely on what is outside. It begins always with you, me, and us. When one truly understands the art of praying, it becomes absolute freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of being, freedom from the endless petitions and endless hoping, the endless bargaining that life has conditioned us to perform, all the rituals of the world. Freedom is the highest gift you can give to anyone. What else could it be greater than the freedom itself? What else could matter more if you can give a freedom to a person and free from the slavery of this worldly demonitions? Because think of it. If a gift comes wrapped in humiliation to you, if it demands that you lower your own worth, that you bow, that you submit, that you barter pieces of your dignity, is it truly a gift? Is it truly a gift at all? Or is it a human-made bondage masquerading as a benevolence? It is a slavery. For centuries, and maybe more time to come, the traditions of the world has taught us to pray in this way, to be a slave. They have made us feel humility, the submission and pleading into virtues, and in doing so have made us slave to hope and fear. They have told us you're not enough, you must ask, you must bow, you must give. And that's exactly the world call it prayer. They call it devotion, they call it faith. But in truth, it is not a gift. It is a cage itself made by human. The art of true prayer is different, if you ask me. It does not diminish you. It does not ask you to lower yourself. No. It does not demand anything in return. The true prayer is freedom. Because it begins with the understanding that the source of all you seek already lives within you. It recognizes that you are complete, you are whole and sufficient. It turns inward, it bows inward, not outside. It elevates the self rather than diminishing it. And I can call this freedom. So again I say, prayer is the inward journey of recognition. The moment when the mind stops asking outside for what the consciousness has already it. The consciousness has already it. And your mind stops asking for it. Because you have recognized your own power. So you do not bow outside, you bow inside. So what do I mean by that? This is not what I have invented. No. I'm not philosophizing. No. This is our own scripture. We call ourselves a religious, but when was the last time you sat with your own scriptures? Maybe books. And even if so, what have you understood it? You might have read it, of course. I'm not denying that. But have you understood it? Maybe few online content here and there. Again, it comes with a lot of mixture of thought that the influencers are continuously mixing with it. Definitely. And they are far much better than the cooks who can completely modify a dish. And that's what they are doing. So, if I can take you to the scripture of Katha Upanishad from India, in the chapter 2, Adhyaya 2, Valli 1, Mantra 12, let me tell you the transliteration in English. The self, smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the heart of every creature. Did you hear that? Let me tell you again. The self, smaller than the small, and the greater than the great, is hidden in the heart of every creature. Let me quote your scripture once more. In Chandogya Upanishad, it says, as the universe, so is the individual. As the individual, so is the universe. Did you hear that? Let me quote one more. Brihadaranyaka Upanishad. Aham Brahmasmi. I am Brahman. I am the universe itself. It is all within. The whole vast universe looks at you in wonder. The stars, the galaxies, the endless movement of nature, every phenomena you can ever name or imagine exists in you. This is not me, this is your own scripture. You do not need to beg to anyone, outside of you especially. You do not need to bow. You do not need to humiliate yourself before some external power as though you were some kind of a less creature. For what you are looking has never been outside of you. And that's the real prayer. When your mind stops asking for the things which your consciousness, which your awareness already has. And you have recognition for that. And that's the art of prayer. So it bothers me a lot when I see a man, of any kind of a working man, struggling through the life. A man working for maybe himself to exhaustion completely. Struggling just to make his ends meet. Already humiliated by the blows of life. I do not see a man who is cursed or abandoned, no. I see a man who is living his own awareness outpictured. I see a man who is living his own awareness outpictured. For a man never experiences anything outside the field of his own consciousness or awareness. And this is the eternal law of life. But man do not believe it. Everything seen and touched and endured is nothing but the reflection of what you carry within yourself and what this man carries within himself. Yet not knowing this, he walks a path carved not by faith, there's no such thing as faith, but by his own imagination, his own state, his own unrecognized prayer, his own unrecognized self and awareness. He walks on it. Your life, my life, our life is our belief outpictured. Our awareness outpictured. We do not experience anything in our life which is outside of our own awareness. So tell me, what else is there in this world then? In Katha Upanishad, it declares, it states, the self, smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the heart of every creature, including you, including me, and including us. This is not a philosophy. No. This is not just mere words. No. This is the reality of life itself. You do not experience what is out there. You only ever experience what is already within your own awareness and consciousness. Yet in ignorance we blame people, maybe some circumstances, maybe outside God and destiny and misfortune of the world. But the truth is simple. We walk only in the path carved out by our own inner state and awareness. And still, when the same man, worn out by life, no longer wishes to endure the world, his own state that has it built, he runs to temples, mosques, churches and shrines, bowing and pleading and giving away what little bread he had to feed his family. Hoping it might buy him some relief, he plunges himself deep into the poverty, deeper into fear, deeper into very chains that binds him. For he believes he must win the favor of some external power, when all along the only power was within him. And that's the tragedy of life. But man do not believe. His own awareness is the cause of the entire phenomena of his own life. And it really breaks my heart when I tell this to people. Most do not believe it. They cling to their own traditions. That's perfectly alright for them. They cling to the ideas that the answer is somewhere outside of them. Somewhere far off. In the hands of others. But those who have reached at the end of their own strength, Those who are stripped of all the pretenses and see that the world has failed them, all the philosophies, all the religion, everything has failed them. They are the one who listens to me or listen to the real meaning of the scriptures. And when they finally accept this particular wisdom, their life changes. I've seen the poorest of the poor, as desperate as the church mouse, who rises into the new home. The radiant love, the joy beyond explanation, all because they have discovered that the change was not in the world but in themselves. The I am, in their own awareness, in their own consciousness. Because the scripture teaches us specifically what is felt must appear. This is your own scripture, not mine. And this is the exact truth behind the exact word prayer. Prayer is not a petition. It is not humiliation. It is not trading devotion for blessings. And this is what the world is doing right now. And all it takes is a simple change within. And that is the art of prayer. Prayer is that particular act when your mind stops asking for a thing which your awareness already has it. Now you have recognized it, and that is the art of praying. Prayer is the inward journey of recognition, the moment when the mind stops asking outside for what the consciousness already knows it possesses already. So if I can take you to the very much practical side of this podcast. Because what use is all this truth if it cannot be lived, if it cannot be experienced? So today, if you have a desire, and who doesn't have one in this life? Everyone has a desire. It could be anything. It's perfectly alright. It could be the longing for the love itself, a need for the home, a dream of security, the prayer of health, or simply cry to be delivered from the situation that weighs upon you. It could be anything. Whatever it is perfectly and perfectly alright. For desire is the only holy thing in this world. It is the seed of creation moving within you. But listen carefully. If you have a desire, you do not need to go to a place of worship. You do not need to run to some external form or place. Why? Because the scriptures has already stated you one thing very clearly. The self, smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the heart of every creature. Everything that you are experiencing in your life, it is your belief outpictured. Is your awareness outpictured. Everything that you observe, what you experience in your life, whether success, whether failure, whether love, whether poverty, whether wealth and abundance, everything, every aspect of your life is your awareness outpictured. So it is within you. The self, smaller than the small, greater than the great, is hidden in the heart of every creature. So if this scripture is true, that your scripture is true, then you must dare to live it. You must dare to experience it. You do not need to beg from the world. You do not need to file petitions. You do not need to try to buy the favors with the offerings. No, that is a transactional nature. Prayer is not business. Prayer is just the moment of being. And because I believe in the scripture, I cannot stop. If you believe in the scripture, if we believe in the scripture, we cannot stop just being a mere hearer of the words of the scriptures. No, we must be a doer. And when I say these words to you particularly, I do not say these words to convince you. I say them because I have done it. Unnumbered times in my life. I have tested it. And I have experienced it. And I tell you now, you do not have to be a learned pandit to experience this, to live this truth. No. Come as you are. It is the inheritance of every man and woman, given freely an unmerited gift, irrespective of your religion, caste, color, and tradition. It is an unmerited gift to each human being, but a man do not believe it. I say, you're a man of a value. You are a being of worth, a high value, because it is all within you. You will never experience anything outside the boundaries of your own awareness. So, if I were you, I would start right here, right now. Whosoever I am, if I were you. And you have been told again and again, even in your own Bible, the book of Mark, New Testament. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it and it will be yours. Not can be yours, not shall be yours, it will be yours. It is a statement, it is an order. It will be yours. Not may be yours, not shall be yours, it will be yours. So, how do I pray? The real question is this. So, the prayer is when your mind acknowledges this fact, that it recognizes its own power, and your mind stops asking for anything in this world from outside. Because he knows, the mind knows, everything I need is in my own awareness. Prayer, the art of prayer, is just simple recognition of this fact. So how do I pray? So I assume the very thing I desire, it could be anything. I already have it. It could be a home, it could be a car, it could be a visa to some country. It could be anything, the smallest, the small and deepest and heartly desires. It could be anything. It could be a longing for a love. It could be anything and anything of this world. So I must assume that I already have it. And I take that assumption and dwell in it until it becomes my only awareness, my inner state. And as the scriptures declares, if the scriptures are true, and as my own life confirms it, I can tell you unnumbered story from my own experiences. I will experience only what I am aware of being. So if I held to that assumption that I am already the person that I desire to be, and I saturate myself to that particular assumption, to that faith, then my awareness will be fully immersed in the assumption that I am having about life, about me, about my desires, and I will experience only what I am aware of being. But what if the world shouts opposite? What if you see quite opposite what you have assumed yourself to be? What if your circumstances glare right in your face with the impossibilities that you cannot do it? Then what do you actually you can do? Then I close my eyes to the fact of the world. I withdraw my attention from the appearance of the world. I block the testimonies of my senses and I feel the solution as it's the real thing. I feel and completely make myself aware of the assumption that I am holding. I do not hope that it will be solved tomorrow. No. I live in the knowing that it is already solved now. I do not wait to be loved. I dare to feel that I am already loved. I do not wait for the abundance or maybe wealth. I rest in the state and I already know that I am already being provided for. I am already a wealthy person. And in that state, particular state, prayer ceases to be a begging. It becomes the communion. It becomes the recognition of who you are. And I am that which I desire to be. And that is the art of praying. So wherever you are in the life right now, you can begin now. Close your eyes to the world of facts. Join your hands not in begging, but in the recognition of your own self. And assume quietly and boldly that you are already the person that you desire to be, and it will be so. Not it can be so, not it may be so, but it will be so. But this is not my promise. This is your own scripture. This is the life itself declaring whatever you ask for in prayer. This is from the Bible. Believe that you have received it and it will be yours. So, before we part, listen to this once more with everything you have. You do not need to beg from the world. No. You do not need to grovel or barter with the rites and rituals as though your worth was something to be purchased. You cannot be purchased. The world is not what our parents or priests have described it to us. No, it is not that. You are not supplicant. You are the one who already knows that I am. And that knowing is your absolute power. I am creates everything in your life. I am is the creator itself. In India, we have heard a term, a small slok, maybe few worded, Aham Brahmasmi. It simply means, I am the Brahman. I am the universe. The universe, the life in which you are living in is nothing else from your awareness out picture. So you are the experience of the life itself. You are the Brahman itself. Aham Brahmasmi. I have seen this particular two words written on the hands of the people in the form of tattoo, maybe wallpapers on the desktop, on mobile phones, on maybe in form of a painting outside. But they truly don't know the real meaning of the word Aham Brahmasmi. Most people call themselves religious or maybe spiritual in nature, and never once in their life opened the book that gave the birth to exactly these words, not even once in their life. They have heard the slogans, the verses repeated at festivals, maybe funerals, and yet they remain strangers to the living meaning of them. They are trapped in the business of life. And it's a worst trap. They're absolutely trapped in the business of life, wearing masks, rehearsing their old painful stories, and wondering why the same pattern returns in their life. They do not know that the world they complain about is simply outward mirror of the life they carry within themselves. Their whole life's experience is their awareness outpictured. They really do not know. They're absolutely and continuously trapped in the business of life. All the hustle and bustle of the life. All the beautiful traditions of the life. So this is what I ask you of now. Read your own scripture and do not let it be a second-hand noise. No. Do not be merely a hearer. No. Be a doer. Scriptures are not relics to be shelved, or maybe you can print it on your body in the form of tattoo. No. They are instruments to be lived. They are invitation to experience what they point to, not proofs to be argued about. And this is what the biggest mistake the humans have made. That's why we have handful of self-aware person around, because everyone is busy in the business of life. So if you have heard these words from the book of Mark or from the Upanishad that we have discussed, do not treat them as an ornaments. No, take them into your interior of the life. You hear the mark, and instead of debating, you simply assume. Believe that you have it, and you will. You do not say maybe or might. No. It will be yours. Let the feeling of having it becomes your present state, and your present state will completely drown your sense of awareness. And your life cannot help it but to project your awareness, because your life is your awareness outpictured. There's a new trend going on, maybe around the world right now. People are changing their religion, their gods, their faith. And when you are tempted to change gods, maybe change practices, you jump from one faith to another because the outside seems to fail you. Pause and remember the only steady fact of your life. Your awareness does not change with passion. Your awareness is the constant, and that is I am. And that's your birthright. If love falls in one town, you do not need a new god. I've seen people. They simply change their religion. They simply change the god. They simply change the creator in their mind. Now I'm a Hindu. These things are not working for me. I guess Hindu gods are not working for me. I should be changing into Christianity. Maybe some other religion. But what is the one thing you cannot change? Your awareness of self. If things are not working in this city, you can change the cities. If things are not working in this relationship, you will change the person. Similarly with the job. But what is that one thing which is always constant? That is, I am. And that is your true power. And that is your birthright. If success eludes you in one season, you do not need to have a new ritual. No. You must return to that one particular place that never shifts, the inner center of your own being, and declare who you are. The art of prayer is not humiliation. No. It is not a trade. It is a freedom itself. It is courage to stand in your own presence, to live from the fact that everything you seek is already present within you. So close your eyes. Feel the state. Assume it now and dwell there. And this is the practice. And this is the work. And this is the unmerited gift to all humankind. Therefore, I tell you, whatever you ask for in prayer, believe that you have received it, and it will be yours.